All right, I think we're officially live. I hope I didn't go live before the intro, but who knows? We'll just call this Boomer Friday because this is completely nuts.
Oh, yeah, you got
It's so crazy.
Oh, my back still hurts from last week's trampoline thing, and I'm trying to jog and like I take a pain whenever I take a deep breath. Oh, right through the back upper part of the chest. Eric, how you doing?
David, I'm doing fine. And by the way, I saw your trampoline video, and you, sir, are a psycho.
Wait up! I'll flip the link when I was at the trampoline house like 4 years ago, and I did a backflip and then hit the wall as a mid backflip, and then I land on my head and had no idea where I was for about 3 seconds. Wow, but still got it. It's weird. Like you work these parts of your body that you haven't worked in a little while, and then it's like wrong muscles get triggered.
Dude, I would sit there. I would have that problem of just like jumping up and down on something. You're sitting there doing flips and everything else. I mean,
I'll do it until I'm not going to push the limits. The metal bars that they have in between section, they put like 1 inch of foam over them. Trampoline houses are the killing machines that Lonely Island said were furniture.
All right, people are complaining about popping audio, so that's not
Viva's
cool.
Popping and skipping. Hold on. Did you put me on auto? Hold on.
No, there is no auto on this particular one. But
Viva's audio is bad. Mother of Cabri.
Hold on, let me.
No, it's probably me. Hold on.
Let me mute and then unmute and see if that. Yeah. Any better? I think you need a new audio card possibly, because I'm roboting. You're popping. It's a dance party. Come on, I can't be roboting. Are you serious? Do I have too many tabs open? Now I have no audio from you at all, David. All righty. This is. Oh, yes. Again, welcome to Boomer Friday, folks. Oh, I'm popping too. Great. And we're both echo. Oh, come on now. You guys are killing me. You're killing me. It's a connection thing. I've got a gigabit connection, folks. Hang on. When he comes back in, I'll pop back out, and I don't know. We'll see what happens here. This is crazy.
Okay, how about now? Check 1, 2. Is my voice beautiful and smooth?
Well, your voice is very beautiful, but I don't know if it's smooth yet.
Why is Viva holding prosciutto?
Oh, the thumbnail. You haven't seen the thumb?
No.
Everybody's going, what in the hell is that? What is that? And I just thought about it. It's like, we've got Lawtub, and I'm like, well, it was a last minute thing. It was going to be a small show with fewer people. And I'm like, what about Lawtub? And thus it's 3 men in a tub.
Okay. So Nate is holding a candle holder, and I'm holding, it's not prosciutto. It's
a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker.
Which one am I?
Baker.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm leavened,
I'll give you like 7 on 10 for effort, and then less on 10 for actual execution. No, I don't actually. I shouldn't say.
Come on.
Who made the thumbnail?
I did.
And then you get less than 7 on 10 for execution.
What are you talking about?
That's harsh.
Joe,
Viva.
sir, how are you doing?
No. How dare you? That was a good thumbnail.
I haven't spoken to Viva in a couple of months. I feel like it's been a while.
No, Eric, the way you cut around my hair, it looks like a child did it with like bad scissors.
Well, dude, if you had a normal head, then it would be easier.
You have to use. Listen, seriously. Remove.bg.
I do use it, Joe.
Oh, okay.
I use that, but a lot of it is I'm deliberately it's deliberately sloppy to a point.
I think Viva's hair is an homage to like an ancestor named Einstein. That's what I'm assuming it is.
Well, I'll go further back. I'll go Abraham.
There you go.
I've said it before, along with Mark Robert, and might as well pitch today's show on America's Untold Stories. But David is quite literally. Hang on, let me share my tab.
Ooh, this is
yeah. This is great fun here, and here we go. That's David. See the top of the button right there? He's Abby Hoffman.
I don't know enough about Abby Hoffman to know if that's Weather Underground individual, or is that I'm thinking?
No. He's not Weather Underground, believe me. But
no,
he's
Abby
the most
Hoffman,
famous radical of the '60s. As part of the Chicago 7 trial. Major radical figure.
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen played him in a movie. About what was it? He was on the Hill when there was that whole what was the underground, not the underground, Chicago 7. Yeah.
Have you heard of the Yippies? He founded the Yippies.
Okay, that sounds familiar.
Youth International, something or another. He's a top peace guy, whatever. Everybody tune in today and you learn all about Abby Hoffman. The guy is crazy.
Joe, what have you been up to these days? It's been a while since we've seen each other.
It has been a while. It has been. Well, I mean, last week was Passover. I went down to Florida for like 10 days for the holiday. But yeah, so this week I've been the loneliest Lawtuber out there. In that, well, seriously, the loneliest. It's so sad, and I didn't even tell it in our Lawtub Twitter feed because, I don't want to. I don't. What I realized is this: I was on Nick for one of the Johnny Depp trial things, and I was like, there were moments where I was like, I really want to talk now, even though the witness is talking. And I'm not going to do that because it's not my stream. I'm not going to do that. And I was like, there are times I have stuff that I want to get off my chest and I can't because I'll be dominating the stream. There's an interaction. There's a respect that we intuitively share as far as just not being dominant, not talking over stuff. And so that's why I actually started streaming the trial this week. And it's just me and I don't know, 100 people. It's so sad, but it's I'm literally just been streaming the Johnny Depp trial, and then after I'm done, and I had spoke to Alita about it beforehand. I don't want anyone to misconstrue and think that. And I even spoke to Nick about it beforehand. I was like, I don't want anyone to feel like there's a fracture or anything. I love all you guys, and I respect you, and I can not just love and respect. I genuinely feel like you're friends. And if I would be feeling like I'm stepping on anyone's toes, I certainly wouldn't want to do that. And they were both like, no, do it, go for it, But then I was like, I don't want to take Lawtubers away, so I didn't even put it in the chat. So it's literally just me and I don't know, 120 people.
I almost tried to get on yesterday. You sent me the link for it, and I was actually talking about in the evening because I forgot that you were doing the Rebel stream
right
on the side.
Right. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind the company, but I'm not gonna sit there hawking it to Lawtube. Say, hey, if you don't want to go to Nick or Alita, come over to me. That just seems cheesy and kind of, I don't know, just wrong. I wouldn't turn people away. Not gonna kid you. And when I only had 100 people, for one moment, I actually was like, if I restream the Alita stream.
I saw that, and I said it would be funny having lost. You should have done it for 5 minutes or a minute just for giggles, and
just
then
for giggles.
out.
Yeah, and just sort of it's almost like I'm interacting with Viva or Nate or Richard or Lita,
right?
And without them knowing it.
You restream Alita stream and comment on their commentary of
yes. For a few minutes, that would be great. Now, if it was a matter of, you could be hijacking audience because it's them and that, whatever. But for a few minutes, it's funny. I mean, that would be hilarious.
I've got my theory about that. Everybody has their own audience, and if one YouTuber with his own audience says, "I'm not going to cover a subject matter," I think he or she is being disloyal to their own audience base. So with Nick doing it live while Alita's doing it live, Nick's got his own followers who follow him, and if he says, "I'm not going to do it," out of some, I don't know, presumed economic loyalty to Alita, he's doing his own subs a disservice. So
you're right, Viva, but we can't ignore the fact that the public at large, while they recognize we're independent creators, they do enjoy and love the fact that we interact with each other as much as we do, and that's part of the appeal. Part of each of our appeal is that we are, to some degree, informally part of a group. And
I think so. A rising tide. I think everybody together is far more powerful than the than the parts. I mean, if everybody's doing their own individual, it'd get very confusing and cluttered, and people will be off one or another. This is okay, there's a good saturation. I like the chemistry, and the chemistry is very important too, because the lawyers talking together, hell, I do this silly, show as often as I can. That makes it much more interesting than a one-on-one or one's covering, another's covering. But when the opinions are colliding, like, I mean, Joe's so quiet, he barely says anything ever.
Mhm.
But
It's true.
should he ever say something, it is, it's good to have this a little bit of back and forth of, well, no, do you think that was good? No, I don't think it was good.
And especially when there's disagreement, we're expressing like why it is. Like one side thinks that this was a good strategy, the other thinks it's a poor strategy. The audience gets to hear the mindset of both, and it's really, I think they grow from that perhaps the most. And it's not like we ever are arguing with each other out of anger. It's like, no, this is why I think my way of attacking it would be a stronger way, or my perspective as to like the chances of success, right? This is a common topic that comes up. I've talked about this on Nick's channel. I've talked about Alita's channel. And by the way, even this week, I've been bouncing onto Alita at the end of the stream just to do like a wrap up with them. What were your thoughts about what we watched today? Because I think that's a healthy thing. And I know she appreciates it. Like she knows I'm streaming, and that when I'm done, I'm going to pop over there, and it just adds a fresh voice to interact with her audience. But you're right, as far as no individual, like she wouldn't be at 120,000 right now if not for the fact that Lawtub was there. And I hope she goes to 500,000. God bless her. She's earned it. She busts her tail.
I hope we all
amazing.
do.
Yeah,
we're all trying to get. I mean, that's kind of the cool part too. Is everybody is going, okay? Everybody's waiting for their train to come in, so to speak. Like Alita's having.
I think she's going to go to $250,000. I think she's going to $250,000.
She may, yeah. There's God knows how long this trial is. She may well.
Yeah, and like I said, I really hope she goes to 500,000. But if I'm able to like help, if I'm able to help float myself while I'm able to like express myself, that's like the best of all worlds also. So this way we're each like helping each other, working with each other, and and the community at large gets to like flavor whatever they want. So I wanted to express this on your channel. I've said it on my channel, but I want like people who might not tune into me to understand that there was no backstabbing here. First and foremost,
I have a fan. Thank you.
Yeah,
I love that.
Go. There was no back.
This thing is. There's a way to punctuate that into a compliment, but never mind.
Yeah, whatever.
There was no backstabbing, no ill will, no fracture. Everyone's on board with everything that's happening there, and this is just part of the. I think this helps the overall community anyway. I think that if I end up getting bigger, that just helps the overall community as well. So like this way, if she's able to help share the wealth that way, where my channel can like grow somewhat. That helps her and Viva and each of us. We all grow from the others getting bigger. So
during the Rittenhouse trial, the market for people who became aware of YouTube law, tripled. So that's that. I know I checked everyone's stats at the time. That benefited everybody. So
yeah, Rittenhouse took me from 4,000 to 20,000. That was amazing.
All I know is I'm gonna probably live stream Amber Heard's testimony and only her testimony because I'm gonna be interested in seeing that. But it's good. It's fun. It's a fun thing to watch. It's a soap opera. People are tuning in. Some are learning about law through this trial, which is amazing. It's sort of for the people who didn't want to get involved in the Rittenhouse. This is sort of like the non-political, non-violent trial that gets the masses interested in law. What is that?
That's true. That's true, and I like the trial personally because in many ways I don't care. Yes, there's importance for society, but let's look at it. Both of them are going to walk away. Both of them are pretty wealthy. Both of them should be secure. You don't have nobody's going to prison for the rest of their life or not. Yeah. Nobody died. Yes, it's a problem, but it's easy to kind of rubberneck and to say, ooh, what's happening next? It's like watching reality TV in a courtroom.
It's interesting to see also the public start to turn on Amber after she had all this love. Even people on the left are starting to say, like, hold on a second. Like the ones who were actually watching the trial.
She's raging. And I don't think she's safe after this. Johnny Depp, I think at this point in time, people have seen enough to, if you had any doubts about whether or not Johnny was the aggressor or the instigator or in fact a bona fide victim, I think a lot of people's uncertainty has now been quelled. And if anyone didn't think that Amber was quite as bad as people were saying she was, holy crab apples.
But this is only in fairness, okay. And I always have to qualify because people are like, "Oh, you're simping for Amber." It's like if I say anything that's counter to the narrative, I'm simping. No, I'm not. Okay, like Johnny, wanted to win, but the defense hasn't put up one witness. They haven't started a single minute of their case.
Yep.
And I am very interesting to see how Amber Heard holds up. I heard she's going to go first, which is interesting on strategy. I don't know what they're going to come up with. I think that they have bungled some things personally. I think that they may have had a stronger case if how do I put it? And I'm not the lawyer, so I can say whatever I want, right? If they actually, I knew they were hammering about him having a drug problem and things like that, but they really should have hammered him on the blackouts more directly. Like, when they showed him with the Festival of Ice Cream, say, well, what were you doing there? What do you know what you did there? Do you know what happened before there or not? How can you tell us? Are you high now? And I'm not saying that it's a good thing. And again, I'm pro Johnny, and I'm glad they didn't. But I think they could have nailed him down more, especially some of his comments like, "Oh, I can drink and I can't do drugs. Pull in an expert." Oh, really? So an addict to prescription medication is not an addict to other drugs like heroin and things like that. So you can delineate different addictions.
Technically, they still probably can. I think he's subject to recall on defense by the defense. So I think
if unless the procedure is different in the states, Depp can be one of the defense witnesses. So not even they could just call him as one of their own witnesses.
That's what I'm saying. He's subject to recall. So if they wanted to, they could, in theory, put him on the stand and start asking him about that. But it could be that they know that during his blackouts he's not violent. It's not gonna help him.
It could be. I mean, but the thing is that they did have that audio of him where he sounded like he was completely raging. Now, that was the only audio. Now, to flip it, one thing that I do find very, very interesting is it seems like, and this is pointed out, that everyone who works for Johnny Depp, unless we haven't seen the people who hate him that work for him, they all seem to like the guy. And you look at a security team, they all have like 15 years, 20 years. And I do take that as a sign. It's like if all the people who work with you are still there years and years later, then you're at least taking enough good care of them that there's a degree of loyalty. And he did seem to have a lot of loyalty coming forth from the employees, including people who were working for Amber Heard. Now, again, no defense witnesses yet. So there could be, like I heard that he fired one of his agents when he replaced her. There may be less
good things former employees.
Right. So they may exist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, I will tell you this. If you watched, I only saw a bit of a tiny clip of Amber's deposition. There's a video.
Oh, she looked terrible.
If she doesn't improve significantly, she's cooked. Because the whole time she's looking around in a way that just reads as being very dismissive, very elitist, you're all insignificant to me. Now it could be that she was just sitting in a private room, and that when she's sitting with the jury, she'll be more charming. And I think that even the psychologist, Dr. Curry, said that they have a capacity to be very charming when they want to be. So I would expect that she will have a better performance on the stand than she had when she was being when she was taking that video deposition. But I agree with Viva that this is going to be great theater.
I want to cover this comment though, because this is very, very important. They got even the person who was treating, who said that Amber Heard had borderline personality disorder, they got her to say that yelling and things like that are also abuse. Now, remember, there's elements to this case, and this is where I think it gets really confusing. This is not a domestic violence case. This is a defamation case. We're covering all the domestic violence. All the defense has to prove is that she felt abused. And if they did, case is over. Correct? You guys are the lawyers.
Well, with respect to raging, you're right in what the Dr. Curry, they got her to give a broader explanation, definition,
which Virginia law also states it.
Which they will certainly bring up on. I would expect they would bring up on close that Johnny's own expert witness describes this as abuse. So how can anyone say it's untrue that when she says it was abuse?
I'm tired of hearing Joe. He's too pretty.
Dude, you just put me on blast in the middle there real quick. The panel benefits everyone more at this point. The combo of viewers boosts the stream, brings new viewers. You all get priceless marketing. As one struggling to get subs, this is, oh, come on, Streamlabs, get Wave Video, get this going here. This is the highest value. Kyle showed, depth proved. No, we all saw this with Rittenhouse. This is the future of public trials. Are interesting. And the reality is, we haven't even touched a drop in the bucket.
We haven't scratched the surface.
No, this is Court TV was popular on television when television was popular.
But this is more than Court TV, because Court TV, they sort of they'll inform you afterwards. Here, you're getting in real time professional commentary from a panel of experts with divergent opinions.
Not curated. That's a big one. Yes, because Court TV does have a message that they're delivering, and there's some coordination here. I don't know what you're going to say, Joe. I don't even know if you're going to make it through the end of the show.
Right. Well,
so yes,
drugs. So there's a good chance.
No. Amber's testimony is going to be. I've made a prediction. It's going to be a train wreck in cross. Obviously not in chief. In chief, why can't I hit send on this comment here, Eric? I can't seem to send. Whatever. In chief,
just select it. What are you trying to do?
I've made the comment. I'm hitting the arrow. And
well, wait a second. It might delay. I don't know.
Piece of garbage. It's going to be decent in chief, but it's going to look artificial and phony in chief, and she's going to absolutely lose it in cross. Is my prediction.
Yeah. I can definitely see that happening. I would tilt towards that being more likely. I would say, the preponderance of evidence leads us towards saying better than 50% chance that she's going to melt on cross.
It's going to be interesting.
Side of things. What'd you say, Eric?
No, it's going to be interesting. This is here we go. Somebody has the counterpoint. They're saying that there's too many people on some streams. So I can see that. One thing I do appreciate, and I know Alita's doing, I don't know if everybody is everybody putting the subtitles on, because putting the captions in there does help make up when people are speaking over. Even though, have you noticed that the captions seem to appear before they actually say it?
Yeah.
It's like there's a delay in there. Yeah. I wonder if there's like a strange sensor delay that's kicking. But I'm like, how the hell did the caption get there so fast? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I have no idea how it's going to affect the midterms. I don't think it has any bearing on it.
I wouldn't think
that will be we're going to when does she go on the stand? Monday?
I don't know, but the rumor is that she's going to be the first defense witness.
But the prosecution, the plaintiff is not finished with his case in chief. The whole thing with its 6 weeks being spread into 3 weeks, something that I was hearing from, what's her name? She was on Nick yesterday, Andrea Burkhart. So she, who's been following this trial long before it started, and she's a litigator herself. And she said that the way they're doing it with this 6 weeks is they're counting clock time. So when you're on cross, that when Johnny's on cross for 2 days, that counts as 2 days used by Team Amber. They're each supposed to get 3 weeks, but 2 days across. So even though it looks like, hey, we're 3 weeks in, the plaintiff has to wrap up because 3 weeks for Amber. That's not actually the way it works. The way it works is, it's not like he's used 3 weeks because they had 2 days across, and they have the clerk is supposed to have a running clock where it's like, oh, okay, you spent an hour on this one. That's an hour back towards Johnny. So that's why, even though we're at the midpoint of where this trial supposedly must end, it's not, it doesn't mean that the plaintiff has finished.
Eric, I just responded, and it came through. I'm not doing that again. Take my powers away.
Look at you.
I'm not commenting. That can be misconstrued as
I said. Well, I didn't know it did it that way. I'll have to see what happens.
Okay.
Feature request.
Yes. Yeah, so anyways, how long will she testify? I think she'll be on the stand easily for 2 days. I mean, she's going to be.
I would think 3 at least. I mean, with counting cross, I would think probably 3.
How long was Johnny up for? Johnny was 3 days.
He was there for, I think, for 4 days. Because yeah, I think there was 2 and 2. You have to realize, I mean, this case is really less about John. It's not even as much about Johnny, because it's not just about the violence. They're going to be asking her about the violence she committed. They're going to be asking her about what she interpreted as violence. There's so many different incidents to cover. Then you have to go into the whole background of the story and what she meant when she was writing the story, and how, just to to nail down that she definitely was talking about Johnny, and see whether she tries squirming out of that and saying, no, I was talking about my boyfriend. I was talking about my boyfriend from high school. They're going to be talking to her about John Franco and whether or not she had an affair, to try and create justification for any rage. Or she can't call that abuse if rage. They're going to talk about, and speaking of which, you mentioned raging being a form of abuse. I think there's two different forms of raging, and one could be clarified as abuse while the other really shouldn't be.
Right, but
if I'm raging at you, that's abusing you. If you make me mad and I start screaming and hitting the wall.
I agree. Here's the thing, though. The raging they showed, he called her specific names that were targeted directly at her, as they showed her calling him, by the way. And Johnny Depp made a case about it, how she was haranguing him and she was constantly bothering him. All of that was part of his stating, no, I was abused, not her. So if he's saying that is part of the abuse, and then they show that he was also doing it, again, I'm on the dude's side, but let's be realistic.
I know, but at the same time, what's really funny is in that audio conversation, that 45-minute long thing, she talks about, you can't keep poking the bear, expect the bear not to react. And I'm like, bitch, that's what you're doing. You keep poking him. And then you're saying domestic abuse. You're the one poking the bear. He's not poking you. He's saying back off of me. And you're complaining afterwards, I'm a victim of abuse because you reacted when I poked. It's insane. It's insane to just hear how her mind works. But I think in her heart and mind, I think there's something wrong with her. She really believes it. I think she really buys it.
Nate.
It's over.
So, Danielle.
Yes.
The Flash.
What is that shirt? Did they make those for adults?
This is the Flash. You don't like the Flash?
Okay, hold on, Nate. Nate, I'm going to step in. David, you don't have to shop at the adult store.
I just buy my own nursery clothing. It obviously was, adults wearing.
Oh, come on! You know,
superhero.
See, I was gonna wear this one, but it was just like this one. Boom!
Oh,
damn!
My goodness, that's old stuff.
Yeah. Of course, I've kept it. This is when you came to the house. You came to my house and gave me this shirt. Even though the shirt,
we were gonna have a martini at the beach.
On the true. After the pandemic.
I, for one, want to say I'm glad you're not wearing the shirt, because then I'd be confused. I wouldn't know which of you was Viva Frei.
No, Viva didn't know I was a fat man, so he gave me this extra small shirt so you can see my heartbeat. Well, I put it on.
we're getting Nate nipples.
It's true, it's cold
red
in
there
here.
and get wet.
It takes so long to get here. Well played, sir. Hold on. Did I bring that up? Who's bringing these up? Stop it.
I am too. I'm the original host. You can too. That's
take
fine.
My powers away. Oh,
Why?
Joe's got.
You gonna take my powers away?
That's fine. That's fine, David. That's part of the fun of it. Jesus.
Next week is going to be crazy, huh? Amber Heard going on the first Monday. That's insane.
Is she going on Monday? They're
that's the report. They're supposed to be wrapping up, and they're gonna open with Amber. So,
right, but maybe. I mean, would that be wise, or are they smart to just put something out and then they could change it up? Or I don't know. They might want to get her out of the way. I've seen some of her depo, and she doesn't perform well from what I've seen before. And it might be okay. Let's just get
she's
her,
an A-list actress. It's time to earn your money right now. You're an A-list actress, right? It's time to earn that paycheck.
There's a difference between being directed as an actress and being cross-examined. And the Depp team is going to do a more effective cross-examination of Amber than the Amber team did of any of Depp's witnesses.
Do you think she's going to cry? I think she's going
to. I think she's definitely going to cry. She's going to cry. She's going to lose it in cross.
I want to see if she gets combative. I have a feeling she might get combative.
I have a theory based on history, and that is her history when it came to how she dressed. And just so I should point this out, I know it's not fair to judge how a person dresses, but you have to recognize that her character and what happened and what type of person she is part of what this child is. That was what this child is about, and the jury is trying to figure her out. And part of figuring her out is looking at her and examining her. And that's why I've been saying that, like, her hair looks like Heidi today, or she looks like Ava Braun. That's a terrible look for her, because she needs to look approachable, and that the jury is judging her. So based on the fact that she's been struggling to try to figure out. And now the last couple of days, she seems to have gotten much better, where she looks more approachable. It's taken her a while to figure it out, even though this is stuff that any of the four of us could have told her before the trial. For some reason, her attorneys missed out on telling her this.
Or she may not listen to her legal team.
That could be.
I mean, it is possible because I'm not.
That's why I think she's got to figure her. She's gonna have to figure her way out on the stand, and that's too late. She needs to walk in there killing it. And if she's trying to find her way as to what approach she's supposed to be taking, she can't figure out with her clothes. I can't imagine with her mouth and her body language and her eyes.
I know she's
gonna be able to piece all that together in time to.
She can't do it while she's watching testimony.
It's a difficult watch. I think though, and I know people hate saying this, and people hate to acknowledge this. But if I was her attorney, I would dress her in a way that makes the men, if they got a heavy male jury, the men want to be with her, and the women sympathize with her, right? Yes. So you're talking about light colors. You're talking
that's a hard balance to hit.
Hair down,
balance, but you
hair
can
down, but not like gorgeous, but like hair down, just more approachable. Someone
you know what, Nate?
If you saw them in a bar, you would walk up to
say,
them.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah.
Nate, you know what? She, instead of copying Johnny Depp, which she's been doing, she should have been copying Johnny Depp's female attorney.
Yes, the one that sat right next to her.
Yes, I'm being not her side, but the one that's with Johnny Depp.
Correct,
Copy her, because she's got that balance where she's attractive, but she's not going to take away as competition for other females, but looks professional, looks good, looks subdued. That is actually the look. And if she had been mimicking anybody, copy her day after day, and I think it would have been a more interesting choice. Okay, Brian Wilson, I'm going to jump back. He was saying the text that I'm not just talking about the text. I am talking about audio where Johnny Depp also called her names and things like that. Again, on the dude side, but if that is proven to be also abuse, all she has to do is say, I mean, ultimately, what truth is the ultimate defense for defamation? If it can be interpreted as any kind of abuse that came from him, whether it was 1/10 of the abuse that she did on him, which it sounds like most likely, it still exists. And what do you do? I mean, it only takes one incident for her to say that she was a survivor of abuse. Yeah, and that's all interpretive.
I was even thinking about, I think I could win, which is extremely arrogant, but I feel that Amber has a winnable case, and I feel like if they close right, they can win this case based on what they have right now. Essentially, is hey, listen, what is abuse? And the Johnny's the psychologist that he hired said abuse could be you saying your wife has been cheating on you and you don't really have any proof, right? That's abuse. She said that could even be considered abuse. You can say, well, Johnny was accusing her of sleeping with Billy Bob Thorne, accusing her of sleeping with Elon, accusing her of sleeping with all these other people, and they happened not to be true. There was no evidence of that. And his witness, right? The witness that he put us in, the witness that said that she was crazy and all this other stuff. She said she's implying that Amber was abused because this is what Johnny did. So, and if they can really expand the definition of abuse using his own witness's testimony, because she even said and they asked her specifically, what's the type of different forms of abuse? Physical abuse, mental abuse, saying rough stuff to your spouse could also be considered abuse.
And Johnny himself talked about her haranguing him, harassing him, always being there. And so he stated it. And I said that earlier, you're late, Nate, hopefully, no. You didn't hear.
You know what? I'm gonna throw back on that.
Go ahead. Of course, that's what we're here for.
I'm gonna throw back on that, and I want to ask you, why should it be her subjective opinion of abuse when the whole point is whether or not the public at large is interpreting this as being something that makes him look terrible? Meaning, the whole point of defamation is you're hurting the person's reputation in public. If one person subjectively, if let's say I have a crazy standard as to what I consider abuse. And I say, you know what? Anyone who walks in the room without knocking first is abusing me. Okay. No one else would say that. Now I go out and I say, oh, this guy, Nate, he abused me. I don't specify how. I say he abused me. Am I telling the truth? Well, I'm telling my truth, which the left thinks is actually means something. But that's not really telling truth, because the public at large would assume that you actually punched me in the face or did something really harmful.
Yeah, I have a response to that. Stevie Wonder.
What about him?
Is he blind?
Yeah.
Well, there was somebody who was sued for defamation. He said Stevie Wonder wasn't blind. The reason he said Stevie Wonder wasn't blind is there was a microphone stand that was falling over, and Stevie Wonder caught it. That was enough.
That was enough.
That was enough. We all know an entire lifetime this dude is blind. All the proof in the world, every medical doctor, every medical condition. But that guy thought he was because he caught a microphone stand. So his truth, Joe, to use your statement, technically was enough legally. So that's kind of where
that's a little different.
I'm looking at.
I see where you're coming from, but it's a little different from the situation we're discussing here. The reason it's a little different is because he's saying I was expressing an opinion. That's really saying I was expressing an opinion based on the evidence that I saw. So
this is evidence he sees.
Well, can I respond? I do want to respond to please. Joe's, you're over here. Joe's retort of my retort. So Joe, when what you were saying, I tried to write it down, but I was rushing. So you said anyone's subjective opinion. You made that statement. You said anybody's subjective opinion, and why should my truth? You even said my truth. I wrote it down. I was like, shit, my truth. Yes, that's a good line. But then you said my truth, and why should my truth be subjective? That's why I specifically said, let's point to the doctor, because the doctor didn't say, this is my definition of abuse. This is my truth. She said, this is the standard definition in the legal system. This is the standard definition in the medical field. This is what abuse is known for in these situations. So it's not a subjective opinion on my personal opinion. This is what the studies and everything and what is recognized as abuse in the literature. So I think you're right.
Virginia state law.
Yes, too. and Virginia law. So I think you're right. If that's the case, and she's just like, hey, this is what I think is abuse, fact. But she was there as an expert witness, and she said in the field as an expert, these are the different forms of abuse, and this is what they are as a fact of her academic knowledge. So that's how it's different than your hypothetical, because your hypothetical was just what's my abuse. Her testimony was what's the academic consensus on what abuse is.
That's a great response, which goes a long way towards refuting what I was saying. So kudos to you on that. But
I'm a lawyer, you know, I do that.
But I will ask you back. I will ask you this theoretical, seeing as how the whole point is how the public at large is perceiving it, not this small scientific community with their own definitions. If we had evidence, which has not been presented yet, but indeed, if evidence suggested, which I believe to be the case, that when people hear abuse, and you ask them to list off, when you hear abuse, what do you think that includes? And that the overwhelming majority of the population doesn't think it means, well, you accuse someone of cheating, therefore it's abuse. So now when she says abuse, the overwhelming majority of the population, even though the scientific community means, well, she could mean that he accused her of sleeping with John Franco, or did the public at large generally not perceive it as accusations of infidelity? The public at large took it as, real consistent haranguing or physical or sexual violence or something of that nature. And if that is the case, to me, that's harming his reputation, because you're foreseeably leading the public at large to draw conclusions about him that are not true.
But Joe, that's why they're in court. I've said it 1,000 times. This is not about actually winning with a jury. It's about the court of a public opinion. And by the way, he's destroying her in the court of public opinion. His career has been, his career has been completely revived. Not only that, it has actually been enhanced. I would argue that leaving this, Johnny Depp will get so many film offers because everybody will want to see Johnny Depp in the movie. There's a whole movement that wants to see him. So it doesn't, this case is about him getting his side out, and he's doing that magnificently. But as far as just the facts of the law, and I'm kind of siding with Nate and on Sybil and all these others, Richard Hogue, who are, really, really picky little lawyers who say, legally speaking, does it win or not? I'd say overall, morally, he's winning.
You're basically saying he's already won. Doesn't matter what the jury says. Far. I agree. The jury giving him the award is icing on the cake.
Yeah, $1 to me, the ultimate outcome, $1 would be perfect.
Right.
Yeah, $1 would be perfect.
Well, the argument on they're saying domestic violence, not domestic abuse. And I think anyone trying to parse between physical violence and verbal violence, in terms of the claim, that'll be the weaker of the arguments. The only question after all of this is whether or not anyone's going to believe that the violence was directed by Johnny towards Amber and not actually vice versa. And you had someone who's either defending or responding and not and not initiating the violence. And so her defense is going to be, he called me the C word after I threw a bottle of vodka and chopped off the tip of his finger. Unless her defense is going to be, I never threw that bottle of vodka.
Which that is part of her defense. She claims that the injury happened a whole different way than he described. Which that's also that's going to be a couple of hours going through how that whole injury happened. I
cannot wait to see how two different versions of reality can actually, attempt to coexist at the same time.
This is a good point too, and it's not only Johnny, but also the Me Too movement itself has taken a hit.
Oh,
by the way, Marilyn Manson was already convicted, but now he has a glimmer of hope because of this case.
I've labeled her the Jussie Smollett of the Me Too movement because she became queen of the Me Too movement primarily as she became the ambassador of the ACLU, which is such a joke. I was laughing about it on my channel. I was laughing about it. I was like, if you look, why?
No, it was a Trump hit piece. The op-ed was a Trump hit piece. They admitted that in court. It was a Trump hit piece, just to show you how sick these people were. It's like the ACLU. Why are they trying to write Trump hit pieces? It's ridiculous. But I'm sorry, Joe. I took over what you were saying.
That's okay. No, I started making a joke. I was like, for $100 a month, you can become an ambassador of the Good Lawgic channel. Tell your friends I'm an ambassador, bitch. Like, what does that mean? You're ambassador of the ACLU. It's the stupidest thing in the world. But yeah, you throw enough money, you're called an ambassador.
Joe, it's coming out of brand ambassadors. That's a really hot thing with like a Nike and others. I'm way out of shape, but I was a runner, and like the popular runners who had communities influence, whatever, they were brand ambassadors for the different things. So that's where that whole ambassador thing came from. Is its branding has nothing to do with the law, and which is ACLU is an embarrassing activist movement anymore that's just lost the farm. It's really horrible.
I want to ask. While we're talking about the ACLU, I want to ask you this: if she convinces Elon Musk to give $500,000 to the ACLU, and really he honestly has always been a contributor to the ACLU. He's been a big time.
He's been big.
But if that year, for whatever she convinces him to give an extra 500, you think that is a good faith fulfillment of her pledge towards $3.5 million, or do you think that that's a cop out? Because
I think it's both. I think it's cop out. She got it's cop out, but she did get him the money. So from the ACLU side, who cares? Because they're getting the money. For our side, we're judging her for how she did it. So I would, depending on your angle, ACLU, they get their money.
I look at it.
They got half of it, or about half. No, like 2 million less, right? They only got 1.5 versus the 2.5.
I think it was 1.3. I think.
Yeah, so they're missing 2.2 million. I'm sharing the video of what's his name? What's the guy? Stevie Wonder with the mic stand.
Oh, cool.
Oh, let's do that. Important.
What is there music in it?
No.
Okay. Video going around.
Yeah, pretty sure Stevie hasn't seen the video.
I don't even see him catching it.
There, he's right there.
Here it is. Killed it.
He missed it.
He caught it. Oh, that's me back in the day. My old video. Damn.
Yeah, look at you.
Look at you. So handsome.
That Poonam, I just want to pinch your cheeks.
And yeah, David, it does look like the mic had rubbed against him and he reached up. So like he might have felt the breeze or something and caught it. I mean, it was totally
incidental. He was just moving his hand.
But it was
headline
enough.
was. I'll show you the headline. The headline was Stevie Wonder conceived by the National Enquirer. So that was it was. He actually went on Jimmy Kimmel, and they had to laugh about it. They were like, "This is ridiculous. I can't see." But because of that tape that we just saw, it was said that yes, he could theoretically see. Here's the headline. So let me share it. But here's the headline from the National Enquirer.
Yeah,
but it shows you how tough defamation is.
Right. I remember this case specifically because it does show defamation's a nightmare for him, right?
Yeah. Here it is. Oops. National Enquirer.
Nice.
Stevie Wonder can see again.
I can see. It's a miracle. You remember Eddie Murphy in Trading Places? I can walk.
Oh yeah.
I can walk.
God.
I can walk. But you know what? But see, the thing is that because what they're relying on is, can you prove now beyond a doubt that beyond the reasonable doubt, but not even beyond reasonable doubt, but can you prove that the National Enquirer knew that what they were writing there was fake? And their thing is no, we thought it was a miracle. Even though I think they were just looking to sensationalize something, that wins. Here's the tape. I thought he could sing.
You're muted, David. You're
He's-
muted.
He's
It's fun to
talking.
watch you, though.
I don't think he can hear us. Yeah.
I'm an
Yeah,
idiot.
pointing at
I'm
the
an
camera and
idiot.
everything.
People. I posted a link. Came onto your thing again. It's the scenes from Pop Star Keep On Keeping On Lonely Island where they make fun of TMZ and they call it CMZ. And their parody of TMZ's clips that we just saw, it's the funniest thing on earth for anybody who wants to have a good laugh.
We're gonna check it
definitely.
out.
By the way, I'm going to do a Joe now and go the other way. One difference I could see with the Stevie Wonder case and all this is, and I think what helps Johnny Depp is the potential proof that Amber Heard was actively creating false narratives. And I
That
think
hurts.
that part right there, that goes a long way toward the defamation, because, if we get the whole element of all they have to prove is that he abused her, or she interpreted it. But if everything out of her mouth has been proven to be a lie going along, how can we believe that she actually had the abuse? Boom. That might be enough for the jury to rule right there, because she lied about everything else. So she's lying about that. Who cares?
Yeah, I think that's where Johnny Depp's team has been trying to go with this. What they've been trying to do is say, first, build up Johnny Depp. You have his friend on, you got all these people on to make him look like good, right? Build up his character. Then part two, let's destroy her character. And how do you destroy her character? Have the psychologist come on. She's a crazy lunatic who lies and manipulates everybody, right? Then you have her former employee comes on. Yeah, she was crazy to me, just like the psychologist said. Then you say, well, didn't you say you were giving all this money to charity? What about giving it to the children's hospital? She didn't give any money to the children's hospital, but then you show pictures of Johnny going to the children's hospital, giving his thing. So that's the way they've been working it. And I'm assuming they're hanging their hat on that, even if you buy the abuse that, Johnny, the verbal abuse thing from the doctor, Johnny's saying he didn't do it. Amber saying she did, and her credibility is just be so shot that you just say, okay, we're going to believe Johnny and not believe her. And that's a proper inference that the jury can make. Who are you going to believe? And I think at this point, I believe Johnny. I don't believe Amber, but she hasn't put on a case yet for me to believe. So,
Right.
so it's
Or
a
even
little
get
unfair
so
for them.
mad at her that you'll say the B probably deserved it anyway.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm sorry, but not exactly nullification, so to speak, but an enhancement, because they're like, you know what? I don't care what she says. I can't believe she did all this. We want to punish her, and boom, go forward. I don't know. David. Muted David again.
In case anyone couldn't read my lips, I'm a freaking idiot. Nate, you're saying like get Amber Heard dressed up in a way that's going to, appeal to the jury. If I'm on the jury, and most people probably don't think like me, I'm scared of Amber Heard regardless. However she comes, I'm going to say she's doing this for manipulation. And it's the best thing that the Depp side did is, have Johnny testify that she's, totally abusive. Have the expert come in and say that she's borderline personality disorder and will govern her behavior in terms of how she wants to, elicit a response from others. If I'm a man on that jury, I have my fears in general, even before Amber Heard. There's very little that she could do to come on, and it shows my own bias. But she can come with her hair down. I'm going to be saying, I'll be afraid one way or the other.
No, but haven't you ever seen a trial where somebody will make somebody out to be a monster, and you look at the person, you're like, that what we're hearing doesn't. What was it? The trial with the model who killed her boyfriend, like stabbed her boyfriend, and she was at trial, and that was one thing that people kept saying. When you look at her sitting there, she didn't look like the monster, but then hearing all the text messages and seeing her, but then they had the tape of her, talking to the undercover cop trying to get him killed and all that stuff, and they're like, she is the monster. So that is what I'm trying to play at, because you're right. I think we've heard enough to make her the non-monster, but I think they could have done enough where she didn't have to look like the monster. Right now, she looks like the monster too.
Now I'm picturing Nick with his mouth open. I wish I could hear.
Actually, Nick's in the picture. It's a
He's
tradition,
like
because
back
Nate's
to
been in
the
a picture of himself.
Oh yeah, I did. I sent you a picture of me in the dentist chair.
So we want to see that.
Send us that picture, please, Nick. We want to see the bright
We
light
will
in your
display
face
it.
in the back.
But you know what? One thing that nobody's talking about is the other big defamation trial that's almost identical to this one, which is the Kim Kardashian Black China trial, because the same exact allegations, it's like it almost reads identically, where Rob Kardashian, the one male in that family, he was sleeping with this woman named Black China. She's pointing guns at him. She's whipping him with sticks. She's put phone cords around his neck, right? There's witnesses to all this. And guess what? She's the one, she sued him, talking about, she was abused. So then they had all these people come up and say, no, she was the one beating him. So it's like I think so that's why I think the Me Too movement's in trouble, because you have 2 celebrity trials where the women have come out and said that they were abused, and now all the evidence comes out showing that not only were they not abused, they were the abusers. It's interesting to see.
Well, this happens all the time, Nate. It's not only here. I mean, Me Too, BLM. How many times have we seen?
That's true.
That's a bad cop shooting. That's a bad cop shooting. That's a bad. And then you look at the case. You're like, no, not really. Oh, not really. No, not really.
You remember with the stabbing one where the cop shot? That was and they demonized that cop. Even LeBron James. It was like crazy.
LeBron James put him quite literally in the crosshairs of his.
And that was a hero cop. That cop was a hero. Just imagine, right?
Yeah, like save a black girl's life, and now you're going to be basically have everyone mad at you.
But also the way it happened, where he shot within a split second,
like Batman. Like Batman. He was Batman. That was crazy.
While we're okay, so let's shift. And some of the people in the chat are very, very upset or getting sick of Johnny. So what about the other news of the week, which is huge and actually does affect just about everyone here. Who is on Twitter? I'm curious in the chat. Can you put up a 1 if you were not on Twitter before and you've rejoined, or you've rejoined?
I love
and then 2 if you've already been there, or 3 if you'll never go there, no matter what you do. I'm just curious to see what everybody's going to do. And what do you guys think of this situation?
All that I know is that, and I don't care about numbers on Twitter at all. I noticed the same bump that everybody else was talking about, proportionate to my following. Let me just go see here.
You're saying your following is growing. You're saying,
yeah, like as of Monday, I would go from 200 a day, and then I went to 3,000 on Tuesday, 5,000 on Wednesday, 4,500 on Thursday, and 3,000 as of today. And like I haven't gotten any better on Twitter. I think I've probably gotten worse. I'm reading about Canadian stuff that maybe
much worse. Much worse.
Yeah, I know. Like I haven't even been posting on Twitter, and mine is growing too, because I was at like 24,000. Now I'm at 24.2, but I was like 23 or something like that. So
I'm gaining tens of users myself. Thank you.
By the way, same.
No, but
Eric,
I think you're right.
Eric,
you're getting that.
we're just being big time by Viva, okay? Because I'm getting a dozen also a day when I wasn't getting any. Before.
Yeah,
Trudeau, not that I've been following his Twitter feed, he lost 2,800 on Tuesday, and then he sort of goes back to picking up 1,000 a day. But that's probably okay. I was going to make a joke, which won't be funny. But like I compared it to the lefty people on Twitter, they were consistently losing day after day. Sean King, dude's been losing followers, but it's interesting.
I thought he left Twitter. Did Sean King? Did he leave Twitter?
He came for a minute. He left and came back the same day.
He left.
He's like somebody who left to Canada but then came back after vacation.
Yeah, but see, I don't. All right, so 2 things, and this is gonna, I know, piss off the chat, but listen, right wing social media doesn't work, and the reason, and I don't know why it doesn't work, but they've done the studies and done the polls. It's interesting because even the right leaning people say they don't like the right leaning site, so that's why they stay on Twitter and complain. But now that Twitter's, and now what only Musk is saying is, okay, we're not going to make it left leaning, we're just going to make it straight down the middle.
Good.
And now the left leaning people are upset because he's not saying we're going to turn this into a right leaning platform. He's just like, we're just going to make it more neutral again.
Oh yeah.
And the left leaning people are crazy. But you know what it just shows you though? It shows you that the left wants the advantage. Right now, only if you just say let's just make it equal, then it's like, oh no, you're crazy, you're insane. It's like, no, we're not. You've had the advantage all this time. We just say just make it even. So it shows you how much they've been entitled to this.
I can't watch. I cannot watch OAN or Newsmax. I can't watch them because I feel like I'm being snowed. That you're asking why right-wing social media doesn't work. I'm telling you now, Nate. I'm answering your question.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I don't want to feel like I'm being snowed. I don't want to be told I'm right all the time. I want to hear it, and that's why if I feel as if you're just going to be presenting everything that whatever Trump says is gospel, I don't want to hear it. Yeah. I don't want to hear it because I know when I'm being, I know to some degree, if you're making your snow job very obvious, I'm going to know it. And I feel patronized. It's insulting. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I think a lot of people on the right are like, that's why they don't like right-wing social media, because it's just too much of a rally instead of actual news.
I totally agree.
It is. Well, you realize like people are going to truth. I've been on Getter and I haven't started on truth yet, but no, you come for not the fight. You come for the disagreement. It's not. I don't want people saying good. We're all saying the same thing. I come because I like making fun, politically speaking, of Brian Stelter, of Justin Trudeau. You come to make your points, not so you can have everybody tell you how good you are for agreeing with you.
But Brian Stelter video, the one with the study, that thing blew up out of nowhere. I was like,
that was great.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god! Oh, you saw it? I was like, I didn't.
I love that. I love that video. When I actually commented on it on that video of yours, and I basically was like, yeah, it's all right. But it was my comment was, what's really interesting that Brian is ignoring is if they had started off, and because he said, my comment was something to the effect of, well, Brian said, aren't you engaging in whataboutism? When they first were saying, like, how the right is so tilted in the news they give. And he's like, well, to be fair, it's the left also. He's like, but isn't that whataboutism? He could have started the conversation from the exact opposite end. He could have said, well, the left is so tilted. And then if you say, well, what about, isn't the right? Well, and if that's what take he took, in that case, he would have said, well, you're engaging in whataboutism when you're saying it's also the left. So the point I was making is Brian himself was engaging in the slanted news when he's asking, is that about whataboutism?
Yes.
That's the irony. He himself was doing slanted news that he's claiming is like the left, only the right is doing. That report itself, that question was actually committing it itself. That's what was so funny about it.
Joe, I'm going to pick on the left. Sorry, but there are two things that they immediately lose when they go full left, and that's A, sense of irony, and B, a sense of humor.
That's true. Yeah.
You can always tell, and they literally have no sense of irony. They will unironically just say whatever the hell comes to their mind, and it is mind blowing.
I have found, and I'm not going to politicize it left or right. I've just found that the loss of humor correlates directly in the inverse manner to an increase in self-worth, in glamour. What is the word I'm looking for?
Self-aggrandizement,
self-valor. The more important someone thinks they are, the more they lose their sense of humor, the more important they think they are.
Well, it's fundamentalism. It's fundamentalism and cult behavior, and it's not only left. Okay, there was a time, like during Ed Meese years and things like that, when you got the hardcore religious right who would censor like crazy. They would go after anybody, the Jerry Falwells of the world. Part of the reason that the right is so much more into free speech is that they're down. Okay. Whoever's on the bottom is going to be fighting for that free speech to come up. And culturally speaking, the right has been suppressed for a while. So they're pushing much, much harder for it. Whereas the left has slipped their way into power and they're trying to maintain their power. And people who have the power tend, the authoritarian side tends to push down whoever is trying to come up.
But we've been hearing
self-righteous
left for 2 years at least. We've been hearing there's no suppression, there's no suppression, there's no suppression. It's in your mind. It is equal suppression. There's no suppression. As soon as Elon Musk has announced that he's buying it, oh my God, how is the world going to survive? How can we have democracy without suppression? You've been telling us for 2 years there is no suppression. Why are you worried about Elon Musk taking away suppression? There supposedly was none. That's been your lie for the last 2 years. Max Booth saying democracy can't survive anymore. Grow up. Please
start your own platform, Joe. Start your own platform.
That's what he did, right? He said, "No, I'll buy theirs," and now he's wrong for And how did Elon Musk buying Twitter become racism? It's like now it's starting to get Like,
he's an African American, for God's sake.
This racism, and it's true, he is an African American, because he's from South Africa that people don't know. But the thing that pisses me off is that racism is real, and it does affect people in negative ways. But the left makes, just like we were talking about transphobia, everything is trans. Like you say, oh, I'm not into the. Oh, you're a transphobic. It's like no matter what you say. And now I think like Sonny Houston on The View. When she said, "Oh, this is just for racist white men," or this is somehow racism. What it does, it's literally the whole racism thing. It's just like it means nothing now because every single this white piece of paper I got is racist. My lamp is racist. It's like anything, like buying Twitter, right? Buying Twitter and say, "Hey, I'm going to do it because I got the money." So what? guess what? Since you're white, you're a racist. It's like, really? Is this what racism is now?
It means something because the people throwing around the wild accusations, the baseless accusations, are revealing themselves to be the racists. I mean, that's the bottom line. They can only see people by skin color, by gender, by race, by religion, by creed. They can only see people that way. And so the second they see, who is it that's saying it? I don't want to mention any Twitter handles to put them on blast, but there's a lot of Twitter's racism. The people who say it, all that they do is they look to see what someone did and then look to categorize it based on the race, religion, creed of that individual. They are the fundamental racists. But they've also, they've diluted it to mean nothing, except it reveals their own character. And when they talk about institutionalized racism, it's arguably the very same people complaining about it who are implementing the policies that exacerbate racism.
Exact same thing that happened with Hitler and Nazis 10 years ago. That was the ultimate evil. No one would have been. It was so rare for people to be so stupid to actually try comparing someone who was more successful in genocide than anybody in history.
Thanks, Joe. By the way, I already was yellow and I already put in for a review, so thank you very much.
Oh,
we're talking about the H guy.
Gustav Hitler.
I mean,
Joe going deep into the barrel.
Hitler. I was talking about John Hitler. He's the guy who lives out in Maine. To note something I'll bring back that
Joe Man.
I gotta tell you though, Eric, you're better than me. I'm even before I finished my intro, pretty much systematically every stream goes yellow.
Dude, it's been yellow for a while, man. It was yellow. It was yellow when we were just talking about the equipment and whether Wave worked. Okay.
Because that's what it heard. It heard equipment and it thought it was code for something else. Code.
But Nate, I can relate to that feeling, that frustration and anger you have. The other last couple nights ago, I did a live stream, which the thumbnail says "Lying Rabbi," which I had my angriest, most genuine fury, wrath of a rant that I've ever done, and it's not even close. I literally was losing it because it was basically this rabbi who's not an unintelligent fellow who was cherry picking and twisting certain passages in Torah to say that God himself is intersex. Abraham was intersex.
Oh my goodness.
And trying to justify transsexuality as if this is not just something that Torah is okay with, but it practically is the blessing of Torah. And
that's kind of blasphemous, bro.
An hour and a half, and this is a rabbi who was saying it. I spent an hour and 25 minutes or so, like debunking passage by passage every single thing he said, and then I went into this rant about how this guy is destroying the world, and it was the most religious conversation I ever had. And I really, at the end, I was screaming that this guy is total scum and slime and making the world a worse place, because I felt that outrage that you're describing with, I feel like you're describing with racism. It's like you're sort of taking my thing here, which is real and it has importance. Like you're talking about your issues about, trying to fight, because there is racism out there that does need to be fought. But now you're basically can't even understand what the hell is racist anymore. So now whenever anyone hears the word racism, they think, oh, you're just another idiot who's screaming about racism.
Rittenhouse.
Sometimes, right.
Like you're like Rittenhouse. You shoot 3 white guys and you're a racist. It's like, what the hell? How did that happen?
And people like Jussie Smollett and people who are always screaming racist, these people cheapen real issues. People like Amber Heard cheapen real issues about domestic violence. And it really damages society irreparably, because you make everyone jaded. You make everyone just disregard everything they hear and assume, oh, this is another Jussie Smollett, this is another Amber Heard, this is another, that's what you think.
Right.
That's what you think. And it's unfortunate because there are real victims out there. And those
how bad it is? Racism is so bad here in the United States that Jussie Smollett had to get 2 black Africans to pretend to be white guys to beat them up, right? And so, this is MAGA country. This is MAGA country. I'm talking about that's the level of craziness that we're at now, right?
Yeah,
and then when you say, well, it's maybe, like even with the George Floyd thing. Yeah, like I believe George Floyd was killed, and I believe the cop was convicted righteously, right? You can, even if you disagree with that. But I also can say that case had nothing to do with race. It did. It was not even the word racism or the color of their skin didn't come up once in the trial. And I watched it from beginning to end. Me and Joe was watching it from beginning to end. They didn't even use the word race. Never even came up in the goddamn trial.
Neither
but you know
side
what?
did.
It's racism. Ahmaud Arbery. Matter of fact, Ahmaud Arbery was so against the racism. They didn't bring it up not once in the entire trial. It was about racism. And let's not forget about Rittenhouse. So that's what I'm talking about, is that there are real victims out there, but those real victims are now hidden by all this fake news and fake racism. So you'll never get a real victim. But it's sad because I think most people have now taken the Ahmaud Arbery victory, the conviction, and the Chauvin victory conviction, and now are saying that those are examples of racism, which they are totally not. If you just take a second and look exactly what happened at those cases.
Can I give you my cynical take now?
Go ahead, tell it to me, brother.
All right. Okay. So if we agree that racism has really lessened and we're making massive improvements, I'm not going to say it's gone. Then what's Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton going to do with their lives? What's their purpose of being?
Well,
let's be honest. No, it's like Me Too. That's part of the doubling down.
That's what happened to the feminist movement. You won. There was a real need for it a century ago, you know. But and even the ERAs in the 70s, at that point, when there's portrayal of what Dom Draper in that show Mad Men of how women how
it was bad. You couldn't have a checking account on your own, and
that was a fair and accurate portrayal as to how I felt as to how women were basically treated like they're a token type of toy to be
property.
Sort of their property. And so there was a need for second wave feminism, but thank God they won. They won. Now it's over. But what are you going to do? So what are we going to do? We're going to pack up and go home. We have this great movie which is so successful. What are we going to do?
We're going to turn to Black Lives Matter. Give me millions of dollars, baby. Let me buy $6 million mansions. That's what we're going to do, baby.
And that's why Nate has become a rich man on women's soccer, because they're still trying to figure something to fight about.
No, it's not just an industry. It's not just an industry. It's a political platform. I mean, if
good point, Viva.
If you don't blow it up and exaggerate it and actually exacerbate it by making everyone view each other like that, Justin Trudeau actually has to go back to governing on actual issues and not fabricating divisiveness between Canadians.
It's by the way, Viva, what you just said is so important, because it's not just a political platform. It's a way to quickly jump up a social ladder. And that people realize, if I can identify that I'm someone who fights against this, I now gain respect. I might be ugly, I might be an idiot, I might not have anything intelligent to say, but if I align that, I might be a bad person in general, but if I align that I'm part of this movement.
Joe, can you repeat that part again?
Shut up. If I can align that I'm part of this movement, in that case, I had now social merit and my social hierarchy just shoots right up. So there's a motivation for people to jump on board, and that way they can get that recognition from their peers. It's the supreme excuse for shortcomings. And anything bad that happens to someone, if they can go and appeal to some political authority who says it happened because of this, it's the best excuse ever. I was running out of. You guys know this. I think you've heard this story, but I was running out of my house one day in the winter, and I was wearing like one of those big fluffy hoodie things. And I run out of my house, close the door real quick, and start running up the block. And I get pulled over by local security, who says, "What's going on? Do you live there?" And anyone, it's the hair.
Switch things around, and then you can say this is profiling and this is whatever. It trains people to have the wrong reflexes and to seek the worst motivations in anything and everything that happens to them from others.
I also think one of the big issues that I've always found with this conversation is that previously, like on one side, they want to make us like we're in some race utopia, which is not true. But the other side wants to make it seem like we're in the Civil War, where black people, I'm a slave and I'm still trying to, and that's not true, right? We're somewhere in the middle. But the part
it's
about
been at least a month since you called me Massa. So.
Yeah.
Now you're red. You're in the red.
But the one thing I think today we haven't solved and is the fact that just the acknowledgement that we've come so far. And I think you guys have complicated it, but I think it's even simpler than this. There's a financial incentive to keep this racism going. There's a financial incentive to call people trade. There's a financial incentive because just like we see $90 million to Black Lives Matter, right? All this money going into the ACLU, all this money, and the reason why they're getting all this money, and the reason why they're able to say all these things, the reason why they want to do it is because they know the more checks they got. Look at that, they're getting $3.5 million from Amber Heard, and they're writing an op-ed for her, right? And shopping at the different places. And we got to get this out, right? So we can get more money. We want to get more money. So as long as that financial incentive is there to call people racist, and there are people out there who are going to watch it, like The Viewer. People are going to watch that show and she's calling them a racist, and people are going to watch and say, yeah, she's right. And she's going to get more money for that. And I think until you remove that financial incentive for the Al Sharptons, for the Jesse Jacksons, because we're going to have it. We're always going to have it because that's what they want it to be.
And on the money front, you know, that they actually, I saw on Twitter today that the algorithms, when they're exposing the algorithms, that they're designed to cause divisiveness, because divisiveness keeps people online. If you're fighting with someone, you know, there's an old meme which I saw 15 years ago where it's like, you know, a wife is saying to a husband, you know, come to bed, honey. He said, just a minute, someone on the internet is wrong. And it's like it keeps you there when you're trying to like prove your point. And that's why they want to fuel that divisiveness, so that people are engaging that much more and find it interesting and getting riled up. So divisiveness is big time money. It's big time money for social media. It's big time money for mainstream media and for the news media in general, because if it bleeds, it leads. Whatever divisiveness you can cause,
they've done studies.
Money.
They've done studies on that actually, and you know, tracked which tweets or articles or whatever will be shared more quickly. And anger is the number one way to get something to spread. Oh yeah. Sadness is the worst thing you can do. Anger, and then a distant second is like funny. But yeah, anger is what immediately gets spread. And if you look at it, it's obvious, the polarization.
Well, it's also there's the two aspects of sharing anger. Is you share the anger because you're angry, but it also, by sharing the anger, it enhances your own virtues. Say, look how bad I say this is, so therefore I'm good for tweeting it, and everyone's going to react the same way to watching it. There's a science to it. It will never change. I think National Enquirer, or not, sorry, which one that had the Bat Boy returns. These things they spread.
Oh, you said Bat Boy. Hold on.
They were popular
show plug.
As well. It's not
no. Show plug. America's Untold Stories. My co-host Mark Robert was the editor on Weekly World News, which featured Bat Boys.
Nice,
and we did cover it on an episode. Go ahead, David. Sorry.
I was also going to say, on the subject of racism, I'm going to be going to Ottawa, if not tonight, certainly tomorrow, but probably even tonight, to attend a rally, the bikers rally called Rolling Thunder, which is like the 2.0 of the Ottawa protest, where, you know, the mayor of Ottawa, if you haven't seen the sound clip, I mean, it'll just blow your mind. He says, you all have the right to come to Ottawa and rally and, you know, enjoy your charter rights. Just don't provoke any of the racism, bigotry, homophobia that we saw with the Ottawa protest. I mean, the politicians throw it out everywhere because it allows them to pretend to be virtuous by fabricating problems that don't exist and then allowing them to misinterpret whatever they want to confirm their foregone conclusion that they were going to find what they said they were going to find before they even found it. But I'll be in Ottawa, long story short.
All right. Well, I know that we're tight on time today. I think Alita's got to do her marathon, never-ending super chat stream that people may or may not want to check out. I hope to have that problem someday where I'm just stuck for hours and hours having to read super chats because the money's rolling in. But congratulations to her. What's going on today? I'm going to go clockwise, I think. If you guys are interested, America's Untold Stories at 5:30 p.m. If you want to see David or Viva Frei's spirit animal or influence from the past, Abby Hoffman, it's going to be an amazing episode. A lot of work is going into this. This is one of the most important figures in American history, believe it or not. And Mark Robert, he delivers storytelling like you've never seen. Please consider subscribing while you're here. David, what do you have coming up?
Going to Ottawa today. Probably today, definitely tomorrow. There's going to have the Rolling Thunder rally. They've got to be, you know, not call it a protest anymore, because apparently protesting in Canada has just been formally declared unlawful by Supreme Leader Trudeau. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what's going on. It's not going to be anything like the Ottawa protest in that this is organized, it's limited. They are not going to tolerate bikes or bikers parking their cars, creating traffic. The mayor has, the emergency team ready, but I want to go see what it's going to look like. Do the same live stream documentation to make sure that if a mayor comes out and says there was homophobic, racist, transphobic slurs uttered at a rally which is intended to commemorate war veterans because they're going to rally on the cenotaph, we'll have footage to be able to counter those accusations. But live stream documentary, we'll see what happens.
Nate, other than your mute button.
It's contagious. It's contagious. It's going around. I'm just putting out my our usual videos.
Dropping gold. That's what he's doing. He's dropping gold over and over again. Yeah.
Sounds almost obscene.
You guys you need to subscribe to Nate because this guy is dropping gold. And it's like random videos. Everyone knew about women's soccer. Now he's hitting on Brian Stelter. You don't know what gold is coming from Nate next. You need to subscribe to Nate the Lawyer. This guy is intelligent. He gives both sides. He shows you the facts. And if you're about that life, which who the hell isn't, you need to make sure you subscribe to Nate the Lawyer. The guy is amazing. He's one of my main inspirations on how to make videos. So.
Oh wow. Well, so there it is. Thank you guys, and please subscribe.
All right, Joe, tell us where to find you and what you have coming up.
Yeah, so I'm known as Good Lawgic. If I get Alita's permission, I'm going to be restreaming her Lawtub stream and adding my own commentary.
Hold on, before you do that. So is because everybody's like saying they go to the Monday if Amber Heard goes on the stand, they're all streaming it. So
I've been doing it all week, brother. I've been doing it all week, but I've been talking to 100 people. I was like, if I restream her, I was like, she's not going to notice. I'll go from 100 people to 2,000. I'll be interacting with you guys on Lawtub, and she's not going to notice if I get 2,000. She'll be happy if I grow that much. She wants people. She wants. She's not going to promote me, but she wants me to grow. She told me go do it. She said go stream. And right now, because the algorithms, I can't. Like everyone is like looking at her or Nick. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe she'll be okay with that. I wouldn't do it without her permission. If I do it, I'll have her permission.
Go to Law and Crime. I don't know if they do super chats on Law and Crime. Super chat something in Law and Crime and say, come watch it on my channel. Yeah. Law and Crime had it in the millions.
Half a million viewers. 500,000 live viewers. That's Law and Crime.
That's crazy. Yeah. How did they do that? How are they beating us?
They're not. There's no commentary on Law and Crime. It's just
commentary. It's just the trial.
How are they beating us? It's not. It doesn't seem to make any sense.
Some people don't want any noise.
Commentary.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
I guess
most people don't want the commentary. Most people just want to watch it. But the people who want the commentary are there's enough of them. I think there's enough people to go around. So
yeah. Oh yeah, and I also stream every night for 2 hours a night talking about law, politics, and whatever is going on in my life.
You gotta catch one of those streams. Those are good streams.
Yeah,
those are great streams. I watch it too.
I try to be both funny and angry. And
all right, so tell us about your rant earlier again.
Oh no, that was a great rant.